Good day, everyone. Today is my time to discuss the nature and development of organization. And this is your Professor Del Mendoza. No? Okay, so let's discuss first how the development of organization or how organization has actually evolved. No? Uh, Organizational management is not just putting work together. Performers in the organized system need to be given specific tasks or duties uh, to be performed. And we have to identify and group the work, define and delegate responsibilities, and establish work relationships. So actually this part deals with the development and nature of organization, and we are to present also the comparative workings of the human body, as the organ and the organization, for us to see the relationship of the two, of the different parts of the organized system of work. And this will show us that one part of the organization cannot function effectively without the coordination of the other components. Organizational management, we need to know the importance of the organization and design uh, the organizational setup that will fit our goals and objectives according to the size and its functional relationship. Now, sound organization usually facilitates effective management system. In this lesson presentation, we are to discuss the effective features of the organization. And we are also intend to discuss the dynamics of organizational design and its relationship with the management, control, and supervision. We also need to present the use of technology in the organization, as the advancements of management has to do with the introduction of the modernized computer and robotics, which is actually a part of the industry right now. And this deals, more or less, this deals now with a different organizational environment. And that's why we have subject principle of management that affect the workings of the organization. We are to see the dynamics of the organizational change that is presented as organizational change with time and people. No, it's also an ongoing a battle that has to be adapted in the prevailing conditions of the environment. So organization class has to centralize or decentralize as the economy grows or contract as it is effective by the introduction of modern technology. And we are going to highlight as well the importance of organizational structure and the different types of design that will suit the needs of people according to vision and mission. And these changes in organizational structure could be brought by different factors, and it's up to us to design what organizational design best fits the needs of the organization. So how organization has hope, many people in the management sector class view organization as a group of people working together for a common goal or purpose. Now, in this light, organization is a mechanism that enables people to work effectively together, like you, if you would work someday in the organization. And the evolution of life points that human beings need to organize in order for him to live happily in this planet. Niwala ba kayo dun? As the decade generate new concepts of organization, new needs and wants come into human life, and making organization more complex, just like our human body. So during the primitive stage, human beings had minimum needs in life, and living was simple. And organizational setup followed in a simple fashion. Man lived with what he can gather for food, clothing and shelter. And usually the family was simply organized to meet basic needs. Men organize themselves, to protect their lives, from aggression. And men needed, to invent new weapons and equipment, strategies, to protect him and his loved ones. His needs extended not only to his family, but also to the group of people he worked and associated with, especially in a community. And man had to develop specialized activities and expertise to meet the needs of the tribes in the community where he lives. During the development stage, man learned that more organized efforts could bring improvement in his way of life. And man's social sphere became larger, and the need for more complex organized effort became apparent. It is organization that motivated man, to use his brain power to create new things. That's why we have brain. That's the highest level of our body, diba? And man explored the development of his natural environment with the use of his hands, and natural creativity to fashion new things and to satisfy not only his basic need but also his wants. Kasi magkaiba yung needs, magkaiba yung wants. No? Organization passed a system of development. It went through a process of trial and error. Ganun naman talaga. Through this process, however, organization developed theories that resulted in increased production and richness beyond the imagination of man. And the refinement of organizational system and development of organized behavior created more goods and services to satisfy the quest for modern living. Now, let's discuss human body as an organized system. Bakit kinumpara siya sa isang organized system? Human body as organized system, organization can be compared with the components of the human body. God, is Jesus Christ, is the master of the organizational system when he created man. As an intellectual being, man is capable of adapting to the condition of nature and the changing environmental system. And organization is composed of structures that operate in harmony with one another. The same system operates in the human body. That's why we also need to discuss the vital parts of an organized system for you to be able to understand the correlation of the two. Now, the brain is the center of human control, as the organization has its management system or officers that set the direction. The vital human organs are actually working on its specialized functions. And this supplies, the nutrients needed to keep all the body parts to function properly. Siyempre, kailangan natin oxygen. The heart supplies the necessary oxygen and keeps the body alive. It balances the human complex structures and meets the standards of life for survival, siyempre. Any abnormality create imbalance and heart surgery may be necessary. Kaya ang dami nagkakasakit ngayon kasi there's an imbalance of the things that they are intaking, going to the human body, especially yung pagkain. Sobrang dami kumain o sobrang unti, yung tinitik sa hindi balance. Nagkakaroon ng malfunction yung body. Usually the same situation could be true to any organization. And diagnosis of any disorder would need changes in the composition of the system. Before it's too late, syempre kailangan natin bigyan ng attention mga bagay-bagay. The human limbs, for example, are working parts of the body. This supplies the food in order for the other parts to function normally. The food is digested by the stomach. The needed nutrient go to the different parts of the body to sustain its growth and viability. Usually yung organization, on the other hand, function in similar fashion. The workers are actually the producers of goods and services. The more productive the workers become, the more profit the company earns. Usually ito nag-aaralan sa revenue management, yung pagpasok ng pera mula doon sa labas, papunta sa loob ng company. And the organization becomes healthy. It grows bigger and becomes more complex. As long as the organizational system is balanced properly by its management brain, it shall continue to sustain its growth, no, and development. Workers and producers of good must also supply with the necessary motivational perks. No, just like the human limbs that needed the necessary massage, no? Once in a while also. So, katawan natin dahil pinapamper din natin siya. So, the interdependence of the organized system, the vital organs, no, and of the body operate with a good deal of independence, no, with the direction of the brain. These become concerned with the interests, no, and the needs of the human body as a whole. Usually, these devote thought to an individual organ, no, when the organ is in abnormal condition. No, and the central intelligence kasi usually calls on the other body parts to cure or make a remedy to the pain or disorder. The same, actually, the same system operates, no, in the organization. A specialized system is put in place to keep the organizational balance through its decentralized departmentalization. Ini-implement kasi sa mga organization departmentalization wherein you will be put to a place, to a department wherein you can engage with your talent, no, wherein your talent can be engaged with the transaction that they are doing in that particular department. The body can operate in the decentralized fashion effectively because it makes two types of decision. So the brain operates in the conscious and subconscious mind. On the other hand, the same situation, no, operates in the organization. The choice, no, of the organization decision rests with the top management. It represents the conscious brain. The subconscious decision are represented by the department and division management that take care of the routine and repetitive situation. They are guided, no, by established standard operating policies and procedure. And now, no, we have the top management in its component parts. Naapektuhan, and you're going to view it entirely. This has similarity with what I have mentioned in terms of the body system, no? And the conscious brain, no, which is the top management, never completely divorces itself from accountability. So it establishes, no, policy directions through cooperative and participative process. These policy directions are put into operations through subconscious brain, which are the operating department and division. In setting this direction and accountability, it set operation standard of performance for all people to follow. Now, the routine job gets out of the conscious mind, and operating people becomes accountable. So when control systems and the mechanics of operation find difficulty, the conscious mind, no, come in to find remedial measures, no, to contain the effects of pain. Concerted efforts to both, no, the conscious and subconscious minds come into play to cure the organizational defects. The growth of specialization, usually at the stage of human development kasi, no, the human embryo grows and becomes capable of greater scope and movement. No, as the human being begins to move on its own, no, away from the supervision of the conscious mind, independence of movement in decision becomes apparent. And these changes brought about increased differentiation and specialization of its parts. Each organ, no, assumes a particular specialist function and then limits itself to a particular type of task. Economy and efficiency are actually developed, and the central brain, no, system concentrate more on the developing knowledge and learning new things. The same operates in the organization. So as it matures and develops, no, to a greater scope, specialized departments are created, and the conscious brains are the stockholders or the owner of the company. And the operating departments are the subconscious minds, no, that handle the day-to-day operations. With the well-organized setup of the specialization, it makes possible, no, to move fast in a vastly complex business environment. Talking about cooperative relationship of organizational system, the greater the relationship of the vital organs of the human body, the organizational system now follows similar fashion as well. the greater the differentiation and specialization. Kaya nga tayo may mga kurso tayo, no? We have different courses. There exists a greater need for its different departments for proper coordination. The locomotion kasi, no, the locomotion movement of the body parts, no, need more supply of blood and oxygen, no, to keep the system in place. Just an organization move faster. The flow of capital and resources must match, no, the need operation. The needed manpower, no, must be supplied by the personnel department. Production schedules must be based, no, on the other available resources. So yun nga, the needed manpower, no, must be supplied by the personnel department. Production schedules must be based on the other available resources, such as the supply, no, of materials and equipment. Usually, mga production output natin must be sold, no, by the marketing department. And over-inventory creates imbalances in the system as compared to high blood pressure to the human heart. No? It creates stress to the conscious brain. Kaya nga, kino-correlate natin yung body sa organization. Talking about organizational movement class, it is not just putting work together. Organizational management not just about putting work together. No, people need to be given a specific task. No, cooperative undertaking is necessary. No, the following aspect must be identified. Ano-ano yung mga yun? Number one, identification and grouping over. Ano ibig sabihin nito, sir? No? You know, basic to organizational management is the identification of work. Bakit po? Kasi it is important, no, to reach the organizational objectives, no, as it is to any team game. No, the players must be identified, no, as to their capacity to contribute, no, to the team efforts of winning. And the team must be divided into parcels, into groups, into several entities of activities and responsibilities. These parcels will be made up closely, no, related work usually that fits the established pattern of skills. Yung mga expertise nila, yung education nila, and training of the individual players. They are closely related tasks kasi, no? And it must be grouped together. The management team has to assign specific tasks, duties, and responsibilities. Yun yung pinaka-challenge lang. The management team has to assign specific tasks, duties, and responsibilities. Kaya we have identification and grouping of work. Now, next, definition and delegation of responsibility and authority. After the organizational team players are grouped, no, according to their specific functions, the definition of responsibility must be established. And the duties and responsibilities must be in writing, no, to determine the group and individual accountability and responsibility. Usually, yung mga team managers must be given general functions in the management of their players. However, yung mga individual organizational workers din must be given specific duties and responsibilities. The job descriptions are in written forms. Now, these specify the scope, no, of authority and responsibility, no, for a particular position in the organizational setup. Usually, in delegating the work, the team manager needs to decide what part of his task shall be given to his subordinates. No? And the manager must establish, no, performance indicators to ensure that the task that will be carried out, no, according to the established program goals and objectives of the organization. Talking about establishment of relationship, yung syempre kailangan ng teamwork, no? Teamwork is the name of the game right now, no, when it comes to business. And in establishing effective teamwork, harmonious relationship must be established as well, no? And teamwork will enable people to work smoothly, no, in making simple and complicated tasks. This relationship can be allowed, no, to develop fortuitously, no, according to the personalities involved. Yung mga training and yung mga organizational interventions, no, could develop permanent, no, and continuing basis for the moral integration of values among the members of the team. Usually these patterns of development crest with the kind of effective team managers who lead and develop team spirit. Talking about structure and people in organization, usually the design of the organization must be predicted upon the characteristics of the stockholders. Yung mga size ng company and the business environment, it will operate. Organization is not just merely the grouping of people. It must be planned in such a way that it is structure fits not only to the needs of people, but also the various environments that interplay with it. Various questions natin as to design of organization arouse in many classroom discussions. Some of the questions usually, is organizational simple structure lang ba yan? Or shall people be the consideration in designing the organization? Sir, shall organization ba adjust to the needs and culture of people in the organization? Or will organization change with the changes of people handling the job? No, yun yung mga possible questions and ano pwedeng mag-arise if you are going to work in certain company. Okay. So usually organization people intricately linked with one another. And there could be no organization without people. Organization is dependent on people as they are independent in the organization. Sabi nga, diba? O no man is an island, as the saying goes. No? Next, organizational design. No? Organization is actually designed and developed for people to work in harmony with the environment and with the other stakeholders, syempre. The design is not made to fit a single person nor to a sole driver that holds the wheels running the organizational unit. It should not be the design to meet individual personalities, but around the objectives and goals of the organization. Usually, people shape the organization that fits their day-to-day activities. They mold the culture around its vision and mission. It is the foundation of their existence. But people should be put in the work arena where training and expertise fit for the effective delivery of the required output. It's not a matter of placing the person to a particular job, but to accommodate a commitment or to give favors. Position must be designed towards specific goals and objectives. Kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na rational and organizational design. Ang ibig sabihin yung class, pag magde-design ka ng organizational structure starts from scratch. It follows through a process of analysis of the existing work. The early growth of the organization requires people with dedication and talents. And the company's expansion needs to organize a more responsive structure to meet the growing demand of its stakeholders and clients. Ano naman importansya nito sa organization? The development of the sound organization can contribute in the continuous growth and success of the business. It is not a chart drawn and symmetrically figured out in a blueprint. Usually, it must be drawn out from the concerted efforts of specialists from the ranks of operating and staff managers. They must work together in designing an organization that will bring in the desired long-term profitability. Okay. Now, talking about the features of a particular organization, organizations that are productive and profitable develop a mechanism through which coordinates and controls the affairs of the business. And it develops a strong foundation of cooperative coordination, seeing to it that the works are done according to plans and programs. Relative to this concept, it must have a logical, clear-cut and streamlined systems of work to meet the present day requirements. Ito nga yung kailangan natin ng mga features of an effective organization. And sound organization facilitates effective management system. The component parts must be encouraged to grow and diversify. It must help develop the business as a whole. So number one dyan, yung effective organization facilitates effective management and operation. Effective management kasi works with certainty and continuity. Appropriate functional groups are provided to help managers. Companies come to realize that managers need the services of staff, organization, and specialists. no, ginagawa nila, no, they provide assistance to top management and other operating departments. Ang ginagawa din ng iba, they make guidelines, no, in making intricate decisions, no, related dun sa production and marketing. So relatively important is the cooperation of all marketing and staff departments in making decisions. Next, sound organization, no, facilitates effective work delegation. As the organization expand its operation because of the revenue that they have gotten, no, work delegation to lower rank subordinates become necessary. And the definition of duties and responsibilities are reflected, no, in the individual job description. It will relieve the line, no, executive of routine tasks. And the amount of responsibility and accountability must carry with it an equal authority, syempre. No. Okay. So effective organization facilitates growth and expansion. Usually kasi the objective of any organization is growth and expansion talaga eh, no? So as the operation becomes intricate, diversification can proceed, syempre, no? The expansion could create a vacuum in other areas. It will need the attention of additional departments, no, to handle its operation. Usually, ina-alerto natin yung mga managers, no? They must anticipate such need, no, before it is hampered by the shackles of their indecisiveness. No? Ano naman ibig sabihin ng effective organization provide, no, for the use of new technology and advancement of information systems? The advancement in computers class and modern technology helps develop new systems and procedures. Yun naman talaga, no? These new courses, no, need the creation of new departments to handle the intricate operations of modern technology. More advanced computer-aided machines, no, would be necessary, no, to expand production and increase product quality. These may result, no, in either decentralization depending on the kind of technology that will be installed. Next, effective organization encourage human creativity and initiative. So organization is people, yun na talaga yan. And they are pillars in its growth, no, and prosperity. The arrangement of jobs must be based on human specialization. Individual interest, no, creates a greater initiative for better performance. Excuse me. So yung human performance is static. It needs proper motivation and continuous encouragement, siyempre. Ginagawa natin, no, managers should be alert, no, to diagnose the feeling of boredom, the feeling of monotony and frustrations. No? In the final analysis, organization is the mechanics of relationship, no, among people. And no organization could develop and prosper without the cooperative efforts of all from the top management to lowest rank in file. So while control mechanism is vested with the top management, lower managers play vital role. And the cooperative efforts of support support staff, no, that are greatly necessary, no, in the accomplishment of the plans and programs. Okay, so the role of participative management class in organizational design. Ito naman pag-aralan natin. No? So usually in modern concept of organizational development, participative management plays a vital role in making more dynamic organizations. No, organizational management now must develop people to excel in attitude that would flourish and multiply, syempre. And the dynamics of cooperation and participation, no, must be given due importance, no, by top management. So when the organization is properly conceived, no, the system will demand from its people, no, to participate in all undertakings towards the multitude of support to its vision and mission. And the talents of its professionals and specialists will harvest the fruits, no, in making a dynamic and responsive organization. How to design the structure, no? The management has to decide, no, what kind of structure the organization needs. First, we need to determine the total work environment. arrange the work, no, according to the most effective system that will deliver the most output and performance. And the following procedures are recommended. Number one, the organization need to develop a clear vision and mission. Anong ibig sabihin yan? No? So the organization exists, no, for its vision and mission. Kanina na-mention ko na to eh. And the activities must center to its direction, to its stakeholders and clients. People in the organization must know by heart, no, its vision and mission to provide a concerted direction. Next, determine the goals, no, and objectives of the organization. Usually, your organization kasi exists for the purpose of accomplishing predetermined objectives. No? So, a sound company objective will identify, no, the major work programs to be performed. It is the primary line, no, of activities of the organization, and it is the end activity of every enterprise. Management has to effectively deliver the following objectives to its client. Usually, objectives niyan yung effective delivery of products and services, yung continual improvement in the quality of products, no, of services for the total consumer cost satisfaction, o kaya development of better customer relations, pwede rin performance of social responsibility, no. Next, grouping of related work activities and programs together. It is the process of building balanced work packages. No, it is the process of arranging to work to form different positions, no, and the functions around it. Closely related work must be grouped together, no, to deliver the most effective performance. And the organizational specialist must do the following. Ano yung mga gagawin niya, no? Pwede siya mag-start with conventional planning of the functions of the managers, or kaya yung mga heads of department. Pwede siyang mag-break up ng different related functions. He or she could identify what functions could be delegated, no, to lower structural levels. Pwede rin siya mag-determine ng duties, no, and responsibilities of the positions, no, necessary to deliver the expected output and performance. Pwede rin siyang mag-write ng corresponding job description, no, of each position. Pwede rin siyang mag-develop ng sound system, no, of accountability and responsibility. Ano pa? Pwede rin siyang mag-determine ng qualification requirements, no, of the different position, or pwede rin siyang mag-balance ng group work program. Pwede rin siyang mag-arrange ng supervision, no, and control system in its management position. Next, management control and supervision. So usually the span of control, refers to the number of people a manager or supervisor can effectively, manage and supervise. While it may vary from the ability of the person, the ideal could be established after a careful study, of the difficulty of the job. And it is in a highly technical position. Usually, the number of people under a manager or supervisor should not be more than 6 subordinates. So on routine jobs, some suggested as much as 10 to 15 subordinates. Yung iba naman, a ratio of 1 to 10 subordinates in the organizational structure could be an economical proportion. Nevertheless, the number of people a manager or supervisor can handle will usually vary in the type of management and organization styles kasi yan, and the following should be considered. Yung character ng work systems, pwede rin nature ng staff assistance, needed and available, pwede rin yung mga capabilities of the line staff and subordinates, pwede rin yung mga available technology, placed in the system, o kaya human capacity and values of the staff, especially in policies and procedures, that simplify decision making. The span of control, is also affected by the volume of decision making responsibility. And when jobs are properly organized, the manager or supervisor is freed, of minor decision making. Under this situation, yung mga duties and responsibilities are properly defined, and it's a system which defines and decides what and the how. It is a clear and comprehensive policy statement, minimizes personal decision making. All right. So we're done. All right. Thank you so much for your time. But I have a synchronous activity to each one of you. Okay. And number one, discuss the primitive stage as evolution of organization. Number two, explain developmental stage. Give examples. Number three, how human body is perceived as an organized system. And number four, what are the vital parts of an organized system? Five, what are the role of participative management in the organizational design? So open po tayo for open forum and question and answers if you have questions, or I could give you, or I could raise a question to you, at least two students to answer. Okay. Thank you for listening, class. God bless.